asking for in the congressional discretionary funds, and I think what you just said is exactly.
Well, you were talking about going through Schaefer, did you?
Yeah, but there's Schaefer.
Depends on who gets elected.
Well, Schaefer is not up,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter really, because it's this year.
Right.
It's funds for this year, congressional discretionary. And I did mention to you that I was told, I mean, don't be scared to
Yes.
go up.
He said the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said ask for the money. That's exactly what he said.
and I think coinciding with our 200th anniversary is cool too.
Oh,
Include
yeah.
that in there, you know what I mean? Like if you go back 100 years, Baltimore was a boom town. The reason Baltimore's not a boom town anymore is because we didn't get the freeways, we had the canal and the railroad. And it's kind of like we've missed out on all the growth over the last 100 years. Like, you know, kind of coincided too in the request. You know, we've been overlooked for decades and decades. Time to renovate Baltimore.
Right. Well, it is time to renovate Baltimore.
I don't care where the money comes from.
Democrat, Republican, Independent, and well,
Excluding
the state of Ohio is sitting on $5.7 billion deficit. I think we can renovate all of Baltimore on the interest alone.
Yeah, but I don't care what party they're from. If it's gonna fix our water and sewer, I'll take it. Yes.
So
Just a comment that I think the congressional discretionary spending probably has I'm not sure about this, but I would think has deeper pockets than Schaefer.
Yes, they do.
So I think that what he just described would be a great ask for the congressional discretionary spending. Say that 3 times fast.
ask both.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, we should definitely, the paper we got from them. Yeah, we should try to go for both.
Yeah.
So here's my, like who writes that stuff?
Who puts it all together in a presentation?
Yeah.
Who makes that PowerPoint presentation?
Who does that?
Does V3 do that, or we have somebody better?
Let me look into that. I'll find
Find
out.
us somebody better.
Yeah. Somebody that'll do it.
I got that.
The county contract.
I think Mr. Fix had somebody in mind to help
Yes,
us with
he
that
did.
as well. He said he did at the trustee meeting.
There are certain people designated.
Well, there was one organization helped us with the.
Fix partners.
Yeah.
It's Hicks Partners.
Yeah.
That's
Is that who the county?
That's who the county
That's it
uses.
is.
So it sounds to me like that's who we should be talking to. And yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to Keith Conway.
That $3 million water. That's step one. That one needs to be done anyway. They won't have to do that. That's already done. They just gotta do sewer, stormwater, or sidewalks, street lights, crosswalks.
I believe, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but there was an estimate for replacing, upgrading all of the water and sewer lines in the village. And how much?
Like 22.
Was it 22? For some reason, I was thinking 17 million.
It was 17. That's when the mayor. That's when the former mayor went with. We went tried to go for a levy.
Yeah,
a levy.
Some bond or some borrowed money.
Yeah.
That's the number that sticks in my mind as far as the estimate for replacing all of those lines.
Yeah.
Changing one big one right now. Time to change another big one, so.
Okay.
So Ron, you want to go now?
Yeah.
According to some friends of mine that are watching this, the only person they can understand in the
It's
mic
me.
is you.
Oh, geez. Well, that's. I wonder where. I don't know why.
I don't see anyone else.
Ours is
it?
Well, probably because this thing keeps switching to.
Yeah.
There we go. Hopefully they can hear better now. The only two things I have is I was given a task 2 week at the last council meeting. We were discussing income tax. I provided everyone with a list of villages throughout the state of Ohio, what the rates are, population sizes, and so forth. I did this, and when I went through the OML, and it took me to this tax base, and I started scrolling down, and I just start capturing data. So you have that with you. And also to answer Ms. Schaffner's, question about whether or not, do you decide where to hold the money yet? Have they decided where to hold some money yet?
Well, we talked about, I mean, we had talked about getting, and I don't, did you talk to Jeff if we could do this?
Well, no, I don't think I think it was, Reclife was gonna check on it.
I was in relation to the Bicentennial Commission.
So, yeah, so, what we did talk about was getting our own account.
What do they call it? You file for
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
but
please
Mike
do.
just talked to me about that.
Yes.
The bicentennial committee needs an EIN number for an account that
Go on.
put money into.
Go on.
Yeah.
Right.
But she asked me if I called the Auditor State's office, and basically we can. But
Can or cannot?
we can. But council would have to pass a resolution authorizing the fund. It'd be an agency fund. We need just to let them know what the purpose of the fund's going to be, the sources of revenue is going to be, what type of anticipated expenditures is going to be. It would be set up as an agency fund. It'd be set aside, separated from the rest of the village funds, but I can account for it through an agency fund. But that's what would have to happen. Is basically council would have to pass a resolution, and then I would forward this on up to the auditors, local government services for approval.
So with the Bicentennial Committee, I'm not gonna talk about this here.
I know. I was just letting Ms. Schaffner know, because they were trying to figure out how to do funding, and she asked me 2 weeks ago if the village could hold the money. The answer is yes, but this is the way it's got to be done.
Yeah, well, we're talking about buying some Bicentennial time, talking about maybe for some type of grant for.
It wouldn't have to be brought up in every meeting, would it, like each individual?
No, it's an agency fund. It would not even be control of council. They wouldn't have to pass a budget for it or anything. It's an agency fund. You're holding money for others.
Can you put money into it? Can the village put money into it?
If council wanted to start that, but we can't do anything until we have the resolution done first
And approved.
and approved.
Well, I mean, I was gonna talk about, if I can do it now, or I can wait till committees.
Well, you could wait till the committees. I was just bringing it up. That's what you tasked me to do, and that's what I did. No, that's it.
Mr. Solicitor.
No legislation on for either first reading or a third reading. One ordinance on for a second reading, which is the urban hunting program, and one tabled ordinance, which is the permanent annual appropriation. As Brian H. indicated, easements were received by B3, and I prepared the necessary documentation, sent them out to the 7 properties for phase 1 of the drainage repair project. And apparently we've received several signed easements back. So easements are needed. They're for drainage purposes. They're permanent. So once we get all of this back, then start working on it. Yeah, progress can move forward. So, and that's all.
Okay. Now we're going to the committee reports, finance.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. We did not have a meeting tonight. However, our next meeting will be March the 11th at 6 o'clock.
Service.
Service met this evening at 6. We had the operators bring us the small community asset management report for the EPA inspection, and that was pretty comprehensive with plans for repair and development of the wastewater treatment plant and water treatment plant and the well. Next committee meeting will be on
I think.
25th at 6 o'clock.
Super. Safety.
We met tonight at 6:30, 6:40, talked about parking on Wayne Street, Mill Street, and Baldwin Street. Meet next time, March 25th.
And rules committee.
We did not meet today. Our next meeting is March 11th following finance.
And could we get a report from the police chief, please?
You've all seen it, we talked about it, and you're all here for it. The only thing I want to add is I did get word that the Department of Transportation, as in US, has just announced their 2024 Safe Streets and Roads grant funding. So we'll be looking into that for, it's, this email talked about speed signs, those kind of things, radar signs like the ones we've got. I know y'all wanted 2 more for the areas of town, so try to add that on. They've got radars for cars and signs and lots of different things. A lot more things than that. That's just what this particular email was about. So we'll be looking into that.
And then the fire board.
Right, the Boswell Joint Fire District Board met on the 15th at Station 610 and went over the budget and the levy coming up on for the 4 mil increase for the district. And the next meeting will be at 6:10 on, it looks like the 21st at 6 o'clock.
And the village committee's planning and zoning commission.
We have a meeting on the 14th. I did want to talk to you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll just mention it now. Keep forgetting to bring it up. The abatements that we already looked into, we can call for the meeting on that. Those aren't set, but we can convene that in time. I had mentioned earlier we only had a couple of things. One was we're not really going to get a new plat from Liberty Ridge. If they're going to actually present it or not, right? That may not happen right away,
Right.
But then there's a couple other things to consider that they are just individual ones.
I feel like they're going to work out something like this, don't you, Jeff?
If they want to develop it, yeah, I would think so. So,
And they bought extra plot of land. So,
This doesn't sound like it's that unusual.
well, maybe then we'll go. So, how about the
We didn't meet last month. Everyone was at a meeting, some type of meeting, so we meet again this month.
okay? And then records commission.
It's you. No report.
Yeah, I mean, and then the bicentennial commission.
Okay. All right, so we've had 2 meetings so far, and I just sent out the minutes to everybody. Last minute time. So I guess the big thing that we've been talking about, I won't go over all the things, but we've talked about a variety of different projects that we think we might want to do. The big one now, though, that's kind of just developing before our eyes naturally is the, and this is going to require council's input. The old firehouse over on Basel side, what we would like to do is make that parcel of land a park and call it Bicentennial Park. We also, well, a couple things. We considered, one of my ideas was, I must have been the only one, or maybe I'm just so much older than everybody else, but I went to old-fashioned ice cream socials when I was young. So that was one of the things that I thought I would like to see for the bicentennial. And so I don't think we've asked yet, but we're going to ask Trinity if they might want to do the ice cream social to kind of combine, like to have an event to dedicate the park. Tim Schaefer would, likely come down and dedicate the park. And then we've asked the Basel Garden Club to lay out, a landscaping plan. And now there has been another request to possibly put a gazebo in the park, like, and make it kind of like it used to be when there used to be a gazebo. Those are very expensive, so I don't know. There might be something.
Oh, maybe.
Ask Tim for.
Which part are we talking?
So up by the old firehouse where those motors are stored.
Is that where you're talking about the gazebo?
There's two parcels of grass on each side. One, there's a flagpole existing, and one, I think we thought about maybe putting a tree on the other one, correct?
Yes,
On the other side. And then there was some talk of maybe some nicer benches.
yes,
But that, what we were talking about, letting people, maybe buy the benches. Like I'd like to buy a bench and have my kids' name on it.
Pito said that they would donate it.
Yeah, and they would want, and then we talked about some bricks, like an inlay of bricks, around maybe the flagpole with, that people could buy. Kind of like the founding fathers of Baltimore, the Bader, some of the people that have been around here for a long time, so that was another thought.
Yeah, grave them with their relatives' names and,
Right.
and then there's a number of commemorative items that we are working on that we might design and try to sell. And the other, I think, big project that we're talking about is maybe a heritage home tour. I don't know if you all know Anthony Pope, but he's kind of new to town. He's a real estate agent. He bought the house. It is the oldest house in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he has actually got it decorated like it's a museum. I mean, it's the old plank floors, and it looks like it was probably back in the day. Opening up, if we can find some people who are willing to do a heritage tour. And then one of the other things I wanted to talk about is calendars. This year we would like to get calendars made up, bicentennial calendars with like old time pictures on them. We haven't decided whether or not we want to sell those or just give them away. But I have been trying to do some research, and the best deal that I have found so far for 500 custom calendars. And they could also, if we could go out and get sponsors for the calendars,
Yeah.
they actually have a line where they can put the sponsors' logos on them. For 500, it was $2,290, but the company's in Canada, and so there's 25% exchange rate, which would be about $500 off of that.
Right.
So it'd come down to about $1,800.
Good idea, what do you about that?
I do that all the time.
But that, I think that was, and the other, couple of the other things is some bicentennial, and then actually the guy from the Waterman's trying to come up with some kind of a bicentennial logo, which they're pretty imaginative. And then Anthony, was that his name? Mr. Pope, yeah, he was interested in helping. They were, I think, gonna work together on that.
Well, speaking of the logo, I know that Brandon developed one, but it was more, he did not understand it, that we were asking for the city or the village. He thought it was more for the committee, so it was kind of, the Brandon-ish kind of.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think we can use that. Right? Maybe go in the office. But I don't know, does anybody know who designed our logo and how that all came about? I just wonder.
Yeah, there was just somebody on the Facebook page looking for offering that service. Was it a graphic design?
Well, I'm telling you, this guy, if we give Brandon what we want, he'll do it perfect.
I gave him another one, or Kathy gave him another one, and I said, didn't Kathy give you that other one that she liked? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, that's kind of more what we're looking for.
Well, because I think he's thinking about where that garage door is.
Yeah.
At Weaver's, he would like the garage door,
wants
like
that.
a Baltimore logo, which we would probably have to approve, but would think that would be,
Oh, that's true. That's probably not a.
yes, but I would think that would be something
Design.
I'd want to do. It is.
That's what he did with the building, with the Opera House, the front. He has a design that he did.
Yes.
It's really nice.
I'm just saying that guy knows what he's doing, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
What is the oldest house in Boulder?
It's over on Park Street. If you out of town east, when you get to Park, it's the first house on the left. It's a double
Is it-
salt walk. It looks like a duplex,
Yeah.
but it has dark green shutters on it.
That's from-
Yeah,
It
man,
has a
yeah.
green- it has a green metal roof. on it, I think.
It looks like a house that would have been on the canal. I mean,
Well,
it's
that's
truly,
Yeah.
like walking back in time. I've been in it. Isn't it cool? It's cool.
So what do we have to do to be able to open an account? Let's get back to that.
Well, they need to decide what if they want us to, if they want us to be the holder of the funds, that's fine. We have to
Okay, so we'll figure
we
that
have
out.
we have to draft a resolution creating a fund. And we need to, specify what it's, the type. It's going to be an agency fund, so council can't, doesn't have to budget for it or anything like that. And I just need to we need to put in there what the purpose of the fund's going to be, what the sources of revenue, what type of future, what type of expenditures. I'm just reading off the checklist here on what I have to, if we go this route, I have to send this in with the resolution that's been passed to the state for approval.
So we'll just have to bring that up at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think, and our next meeting is March 10th. It's coming up, actually not that far away.
And if they decide to go another, that's fine too.
So, yeah, I don't want to keep saying we have plenty of time, but right now we
Yeah,
do.
but it's good to get it started. And actually, it's the most exciting thing. Anyways, does anybody, do you have anything else that we need to?
That way they wouldn't have to create an EIN and go through all that hassle.
Okay.
I kind of feel like I would rather have it here, but.
Well, if there are nothing else, is there any motions to? adjourn?
I just want to ask.
No, we need to have the reading on this.
Well, any other motions?
Motions, and then we go to read.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The
Motion.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No motion to adjourn.
So, there's none, second reading.
Well, wait a minute. Well,
We're getting readings.
I thought we were still on motions. I know you made a motion earlier. Were there any additional motions?
There's no motion. No first reading. Second reading is the ordinance to adopt a new urban planning program, properties annexed to be annexed in the village limits. This is on for second reading, and we were gonna let it go for all three readings.
And Rick, I would ask for a motion to amend that. Sections, just for clarification, section 2 currently reads the provisions of ordinance 2022-14 as amended shall supersede any provisions of Baltimore codified ordinances in conflict therewith, including but not being limited to chapter blank, and then in parentheses prohibiting the discharge of firearms in the village. So I clarified that to read where the blank is, chapter 678, general offenses code, weapons and explosives, because that includes the no discharge of the firearm. So it includes everything else.
Okay, so this second reading would be as amended, and we'll have verbiage in the third reading.
Yeah, but I would ask that you make the motion to amend it for that correction. So
There's a lot of verbiage there. I didn't-
well, you don't have, you can just, you don't have
That's
to.
what Jeff stated.
Yeah.
What is that?
What do you think? And I did reprint the
Ordinance 2024-03 will stand for second reading as amended for the village solicitor to include the conflict with other ordinances allowing discharge of firearms or other such things inside the. Well, it's not a motion, it's just second reading. Right?
Well, but
You
Has
have,
a motion to amend it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you, so I made a motion. Okay.
So we go roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes.
For third reading, we have none. There's a tabled ordinance here. Mr. Conrad.
It's still on the table.
It's still on the table, but I've sent you the budget. If you guys are comfortable with it, then we need to bring it off the table and get this passed.
Right, yeah. So
You need it by the end of March, right?
I need it by the end of March, yes. So, I mean,
So everybody has a copy of the budget, so we should review it.
It's-
So
Yeah,
the
can we do it next meeting?
Yes.
Finance meeting on the 11th.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so your deadline is the end of March. to get it.
So that's what we'll pass.
Yeah,
It'll pass at the next meeting.
That'll give everybody a chance to read it.
and discuss it in finance.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Also, do we need to have a motion for that?
No.
So any old business? About new business?
Our new business, the police department has managed to accumulate several rather old cars that are getting kind of costly in repairs. And I think we should entertain either the purchase of a new car every 2 years or so and start rotating them through and stop buying these old used cars. Because chasing around these old used cars is not the way to do it. Or look into the possibility of just leasing 2 cruisers and having them changed out every 5 years. That way they're just a cost of doing business. We're not trying to build equity in a car. We're not trying to shop around for cars. We're not driving to Arizona to buy cars.
How many cars do we actually?
It's just a part of our monthly cost.
So we've always had 4 cars. That's been our standard package, if you will. We have 2 that the school has paid for that they bought to use as SRO cars. So we have 6, but 4 of them are ours. That's been our normal kind of rotation. But our cars now are getting to the.
I guess my question is, and I'm just asking this question, why do we need 4 cars? If we only have one, if we have 2 cars that the school pays for that are stationary, and then we have 4 other ones, and there's only 1 policeman on duty, but we have the school cars. I'm just asking, why do we need the 4?
Well, generally because when they're down for maintenance,
Right.
we always.
But I'm saying if we do something, what Rick is saying, every 2 years, and leasing is on government vehicles now, it's not a cost effective thing now, unfortunately. And I know that for sure. But I would think that we should, I think every 2 years or 3 years, we should do that, but would we need as many cars then? I guess that's my question.
Well, this summer, once we get out of school, we're gonna have 2 guys on duty probably most of the time. So that would be 2, but when you don't have those, you might as well buy 2 cars a year almost, or if you're gonna run them that much around the clock. So
what happens to the 2 cars from the school during when the kids aren't in school? What happens to those cars?
Well, that's a question of whether we use them or not. That's why I wouldn't suggest that's why when we have 4 cars, they're spaced out to the point that your oldest one is your backup car and the other 3 are used regularly. So in the past, we were on a program where we bought one every 2 years. And then when we got the car we got rid of, the 4th car we got rid of, we actually made some, or not made, but we actually could sell and get some money to help outfit the new one the next year. So
do we owe any money on these 6 cars?
No. They're all paid for.
Well, they're not worth much, is it?
No, I know.
I mean, like I said, I got word today that one of the cars might have a $4,000 bill coming next week, and I just sent Brian one today for $2,000. And this is I've already had
Well, how many
probably
miles
2,000
on these cars? I'm just,
the one with the $4,000 repair potential has 118,000 on it. The next one has 90 on it. The next one has 70 something on it.
well, I don't think mine, I know about cars. Buying junk cars, we're gonna have this forever. And I mean, buying a new one every 2 years makes sense just because if we're putting 30,000 miles a year on a car, I don't know how many miles a year you put on a car.
I can't tell you.
So maybe, but we should track that this year.
We are this year.
Just because an average warranty on a car is 3 years, 36 for everything. It's usually 5 years, 60 on the motor and powertrain. And that's not what I saw. It's think about what it is.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something we need to start putting in the budget. We're going to figure that
I
out.
track this from a business standpoint, and the first 5 years is the cheapest time that will be.
Right.
And if you don't get rid of it at the end of that, you're going to be paying on it in one form or another.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe we were even buying used cruisers when I first got on council. I don't know why that got started. I know it didn't used to be that way.
Yeah, it
If
doesn't
you
make
buy a new
sense.
one every couple of years and you rotate them down through the fleet, it's just irresponsible to be buying these used vehicles.
Were those ones at the schools, were they used?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're spending a lot of money on those cars, aren't we?
Yeah. Each of those, I think, had a $3,100 repair last year.
I think when we renegotiated the school, we need to put
Yes.
on them. They have their own maintenance garage.
Yes, they do.
If we're putting the gas in them, they should be maintained.
No, we that's definitely, when do we renegotiate that contract?
We just
I think it's a
renegotiated
year.
it.
I think that's a year by year, but
But I think it automatically renews.
Those contracts automatically renew.
So that's
But
something.
it doesn't mean it can't be amended, but if there is no amendment, it would automatically.
So we can amend it for the next school year.
Yeah, well, no, that's a conversation we need to have with the school board, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because it's great that they're buying. But if they're,
once again, those cars will.
Yeah, we bought them and then they reimbursed us for them.
But they gave us a pretty low budget to buy the cars.
Well, if I remember correctly,
Used cars with the money they gave us.
well, I think they let Chief Tussey go out and shop around. And he found a couple down in Kentucky. That's
well, I think I thought on this, we have to. I mean, I'm in the car business. So that's the only way to do it is that rotating two in every couple of years. We just gotta make sure we have the money to do it. That's definitely the way.
The cost of one of the cars is less than one man's full-time salary. I mean,
I don't know about that now.
We carried over 65,000 last year. That
Yeah,
was
I know. We didn't carry over anything, really. I'm just saying.
somebody needs to fix it.
they're not cheap, but they're
Right.
not unaffordable for a village our size.
No, and we need to, it's stupid to keep dumping money. Who does our cars, Bob?
Bob does the light stuff, and then one of our latest employees, his brother works for Cotton Ford. He's a master mechanic there, so he's been doing a really good job for us. I mean, he gives us better prices than we can get anywhere. I don't know. Well, he gets his parts at cost. So
I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know how we do go, where we go from here with this, but yes, I agree with you. We need to start rotating some new ones in. I don't think used ones are. I don't know. And as much as used ones are, you can buy new ones if they're good.
the ones we've been buying, I know the two, the 17s, they both have salvage titles.
We have salvage title cars that we're driving.
Yes.
We can't even insure those full coverage, can you?
yeah, they got insurance.
Well, that surprises me because most of the time insurance.
Believe me, I was shocked when we bought them and when the title came
So
out.
was I.
I was like, ooh.
It was brought up at the time and we were assured it was not a problem, but I was not.
Yeah.
We weren't made aware of it up front, and I was very upset that we
I just can't believe we put our police officers in a salvage title car.
shouldn't have.
All right, well, and that's something we gotta figure out. I don't have answers for that tonight, but that's definitely something we gotta figure out. Wow. All right, any other new business?
Wait a minute, let me just add one more thing. So I will say, several years ago, probably about 14 years ago, I suppose, we were kind of in a dire straits for cars here, and Chief Tussey found it's called a lease, but when I explain it, you'll realize it's not really a lease. Okay, what it is, this company, and you probably have done this with some other things like backhoes and trucks and stuff, where the company buys them all up front, but they structure the payments.
You kind of rent to own is kind of what.
Well, like for quarterly for like 5 years. So you don't have,
That's not really good.
I wasn't around them, but I did see some records like from Kansas City. Was that,
I don't know where
is that
it's
what you was
from.
talking about?
I don't know. There was a place down in Middleton, Ohio that
Oh.
sold police cars, and they had the cars and they used this company. And it was interesting because when I was talking to this guy on the phone, he goes, "Yeah, well, I think we've done stuff with you before." And he starts flipping back through his files. And he goes, "Yeah, Chief Tussie, we dealt with some Crown Vics on it." And so there is options like that. So you're not
Well,
jumping out at 6,000 or 65,000 in a lump. You can do it in.
Yeah, right now, I think that every 2-year idea is a good idea to start phasing now. We phase the salvage title ones out first, for sure. But it's the two that were at the school aren't salvage title, are they?
No.
Yeah, the two we went to Arizona or something.
Oklahoma. Those were from
Buy a
Oklahoma.
salvage
Or
title
salvage
car?
title. And I wasn't happy when we decided to buy them by emergency, and I was even angrier when I found out they were salvage title when they got back up to Baltimore.
Okay.
And I brought it up, and I was dismissed.
Well, I'm just telling you, salvage title cars are not good cars.
No, we should have never bought them.
That is cool.
If I'd have known they were salvage titles, we would not have.
Well, we know we have to figure that out, and we will.
And we're still driving. So.
Any other new business?
I just would like to bring up, I received an email, and I believe you were on this too, Brian, in regards to Brent from Rosoni Windows. So do we need to bring that before? That is one of the things we received the estimate. So we're looking at 15 windows. So this will be phase 2 at $23,809. I know we already have funds that are.
I've already got the budget.
So we don't have to.
Well, the thing of it is I can't do any kind of a PO until the budget's approved.
Okay.
We're still on a temporary
2
mode.
weeks from now, we do.
I'm still running on temporary, and I'll tell you the truth, some of the lines on the estimates are getting kind of low, and I was kind of hoping to get past tonight, but okay, but we'll discuss it in 2 weeks.
Well, let's make that the priority. Everybody plan on how to pass out.
But yeah, in that quote, I said we need a PO number. I can't provide that
Okay. No, that's
until
fine.
the budget's
That's
approved.
fine. I just wanted to bring that up because I received the email, so, which is within the allocation.
So
Yeah, it's in the budget.
We're gonna just go through this line for line all of it.
No, I basically, that's
I'm
it.
asking, I don't know how.
Well, if you guys,
Know where we left on Washington Street. And where
Well,
that
Washington-
stands at the moment. So that's the only reason I'm saying we need to wait on the budget, because we were talking about making sure Washington Street was in this budget.
it is.
And,
The revised one I sent
and
is.
did we get the quotes, and are we sure we got it covered for that? And where do we stand on that? Because that's the only reason I'm not willing to move forward on that.
Well, so here's Washington Street. So we allotted $300,000,
That's what that's what I was told by.
but we have to put that out to bid. But we did get a quote for considerably less. We got a quote for, I think it was 186.
So we're gonna pass it with the 300.
Yeah,
Yes,
Hope that comes.
yes, but because if it,
and it's in, I put a portion, a big chunk of it in the street fund and the rest in the motor vehicle light to cover. And it includes the 65,000 for the American Rescue Plan month portion. So, I put those in there, into the budget. So that's why I was kind of hoping to get past tonight, but okay.
well,